Welcome to the Build Your Base podcast, episode number 25, and it's one of the final episodes of the year, and we want to help you today with this episode end 2020 strong and not lose the progress that you've made during this year. We got 5 quick tips for you today. Really reflect on each of them. If you take a couple of things from this that helps you get through December, a time of partying, a time of eating, a time of drinking, then we would consider this a successful podcast episode. If you enjoy today's podcast, do go back to our previous episodes. We've got tons of great information that we've put out, tons of great interviews with base coaches and other health and fitness experts from around Bangkok. Also, please do leave us a review on whichever platform you listen on. It's great to hear your thoughts, your feedback, and makes putting the show together all worthwhile. Okay, so 5 tips. Let's start off with tip number 1. Go into December, the final month of the year, with the right mindset. Now, I think many people go into December thinking it's a complete write-off. They got parties coming up, maybe they got some family stuff to do, traveling, and they just think, right, you know what, I'm going to put everything to one side until January. If you go in with this mindset, you don't really have much hope. You're likely going to be over-consuming. You're likely not going to be training very much. Okay, it's a busy social month. It's going to be a little bit harder to maybe have the same discipline that you have in the rest of the year. But if we go in thinking, okay, let's keep things going, let's at least maintain and not lose the fitness I've built up. If we go in with that mindset, there's much more chance that we can go into January in a much stronger way. Doing something is really much better than nothing. So if you've been training consistently 3 or 4 times a week, if you can just train twice a week in December, again, you're going to go into January much fitter. You won't really have lost any of the progress that you've had. If anything, having that month still moving, still training, but not training as hard could actually be hugely beneficial. You might find in January you could break through some plateaus. So in summary, go into December thinking, okay, it might not be as good as usual this month. My diet, my nutrition, my training might not be as good as it has been the rest of the year, but I'm still going to keep things going. Something is better than nothing. Number 2, and this is going to be quite an obvious one, but I think worth saying, practice sensible eating. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go to your Christmas dinners, your holiday lunches, everything else that you have planned. Of course, during those times, you want to relax, and we're going to come onto that in a later tip. But generally, try and practice the 80-20 rule. 20% of the time, let loose, have fun, drink beer, eat what you want to eat. 80% of the time, still stick to consuming the right kind of things, and you'll largely keep on track. It kind of goes back to tip number 1. If you just go into December thinking it's a write-off, then you might just take every opportunity to eat that you can, and that's not going to leave you in a good place come January. We ultimately want to help you start 2021 in the best way. Eat well, enjoy the foods that you want to enjoy, but don't binge too often over Christmas, over the holidays. Maybe one big dinner you can really go all out, but we don't want to eat to that point where we just cannot possibly eat anymore. Most of the time, try and get yourself to 80% full and stop eating there. It's that real overconsumption, it's that binging that often really derails our efforts. And if you have a big dinner coming up or a big event, consider taking an approach similar to intermittent fasting. You could even practice IF and not eat up until that dinner. That means at the end of the day, even if you eat a lot in that dinner, you'll likely be in a caloric deficit. Or you can just eat very light leading up to it. So if you know you have a big meal coming up, there's going to be drinks, there's going to be wine, there's going to be desserts and everything else. During the daytime, just have some small, light snacks, nothing too much. And that means that over the course of the day, you shouldn't have consumed too much. And again, it's not going to derail your progress. We would recommend sensible alcohol consumption over the Christmas holidays. We don't want to ruin the holidays for you, of course. You can drink alcohol, but just keep things sensible. I guess do with that tip what you will. Number 3, stay active. Now, we've already touched on this, but you want to train, I would say, at least 2 times per week. It can just be a light training session is fine, but try not to get stuck in the trap of just doing nothing during December. That will not leave you in a good place. That's not what we want. And I would say with this as well, try and focus on your NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Now, this I think is very underrated, and this basically means how much you're moving outside of exercise. So you might not be doing a training session, you might not be in Bangkok, so you can't go to your regular gym, but just try and stay active. Go for a hike, go for a walk, go for a cycle ride, play with your kids, play a game of football on the beach, just something to keep your body active. Maybe you're out of your training routine, but it's really important we don't just sit down and do nothing for a whole week or a whole month. It's not going to leave us in a great place. And now, one of the benefits of this crazy year has been there's a lot of online training options out there. We have our platform, Base Anywhere. There's over 70 workouts on that platform. So we would recommend doing some of these workouts. All you need is some space, maybe a light weight, or it could just be body weight. Again, it's a good way to get a decent training session in when you don't have a gym or don't have a training space of some kind. Number 4, we would recommend keeping a journal, keeping a diary with some thoughts on how you'd like 2021 to be. Now, it doesn't need to be on paper. It can just be on notes on your phone. But as you take time off, as you relax during the holiday periods, you're going to find that thoughts pop into your head, things that you want to achieve next year. Really think about your values, what's important to you. At Base, we're not really too keen on, I want to lose 2 kg, 10 kg. We prefer just thinking about what's important to you, your values, how you can make sure you're living up to those values in 2021, and really consider a few performance-based goals. So that basically means rather than an outcome goal, such as get a six-pack, or pack on more muscle, think about how you'd like to perform. We have found that people that have performance goals are much likely to stick to a training program long term and actually get much more satisfaction from their training. Now, a performance-based goal might be to run a 5K race, a 10K run, maybe enter a Spartan race competition, maybe hit 5 pull-ups, maybe hit 10 push-ups, maybe squat your body weight or deadlift 2 times your body weight. Just a few examples of some performance-based goals. We do have a baseline challenge coming up in January. That is an awesome place to set some performance-based goals because we do some basic fitness sets at the beginning to see where your cardio and strength is. And then you can set targets and goals based on that for the 60 days and see how much you've improved. Whether you do it with us at the baseline challenge and use our technology to track and record your progress, or whether you set your own performance-based goals, we would highly recommend these for 2021. And if you want more information on performance-based goals or goal setting in general, do go back to episode 21 of the Build Your Base podcast. Tons of info there on how best to set and achieve your goals. Number 5, I think the most important one perhaps, enjoy, relax, really let go during the holiday period. It's not a time to be hard on yourself. It's not a time to have perfect nutrition, a perfect diet, to have a strict training regimen. Yes, we want to continue some of the good habits that we built up over this year. We don't want this month to really set us back in terms of our health and our fitness, but don't be too hard on yourself if you have an absolute blowout day or evening of overconsumption. Relax, detach, get away from the madness of this year. We believe that some of the best ideas and thoughts come from really taking a step back. So turn your phone off, detach from technology, try and connect with nature a little bit, certainly connect with the people around you, your friends, your family, and I believe that's really going to set you guys up for a strong and powerful 2021. Okay, let's give you a quick recap on those 5 tips to end 2020 strong. Number 1, go into December with the right mindset. If you think it's going to be a write-off before it started, it will be. Number 2, practice sensible eating. Eat well, enjoy the foods you like, but don't go crazy on it. Don't binge often. Number 3, stay active. Aim for at least 2 training sessions a week. You can use some of the online training options and just try and get moving outside of sort of traditional exercise or training. Go for a walk, cycle ride, play some football, volleyball, all that kind of stuff. Number 4, keep a journal, whether it's physical on paper or in your phone, of just some of the things that you'd like to do, what you'd like to achieve in 2021. And number 5, enjoy this month. Relax. Let's try and end 2020 in a good mental place, and that will set you guys up for a strong and powerful January. That's it, guys. I hope these tips have helped you out. I hope you can take a couple of things that will help you get through December without it being a complete write-off. We are really excited to help you make 2021 the best year you possibly can. We are open all through the Christmas period at Base, so if you're staying in Bangkok, do come and train. We are here to help you get through this time. If you want more information on the Baseline Challenge, it kicks off mid-January. Keep an eye on our socials. We'll be announcing more about that Baseline Challenge. We have just finished our 2020 challenge. We had some amazing success stories. Those that committed to the 60 days really saw great results. We would love to welcome you to that challenge in January. That's it for now. Have an awesome new year, and we'll see you soon on the Build Your Base podcast.